That's the scene I'm going to paint. And you can tell that it's a lovely kind of place to be. Uh, it's a beautiful spot on a Greek island, and it is Greece. And there you could probably, in your mind's eye, sort of see the scene yourself. You've probably been somewhere like that, or and that you can hear the crickets, or whatever they're called, cicadas, or whatever they are. And that's what you need to get across in your painting, because copying that painting, I think you'd get a very dull result. Okay, so let me get back to my canvas. Right, okay, so these are the colours I'm going to use. The usual colours, usual suspects: titanium white, cadmium yellow, pale hue, or light hue, it says here. For some reason in Griffin it says light hue, but in the Winsor & Newton, this is Winsor & Newton as well, but in the Winton range it says cadmium yellow, pale hue. Okay, permanent rose, cobalt blue, burnt sienna, and I've added dioxazine purple into this. Okay, so those are the colours that I'm going to use. So let's set them out. Let's get that awful thing out of the way. So, and I always put my colours out in the same sort of spot. Okay, you can see I've shifted offline in the little lower right cutaway. Oopsie. That's because I have to do that to come over to the painting to paint. So there's some titanium white, some cadmium yellow, pale hue. Maybe give myself a little bit more. Okay. And I always put them out in the same order, so I know where everything is without sort of having to hunt for it on the palette. Cobalt blue. Give myself a bit of that. I'm going to put the dioxazine purple here. It wouldn't normally be on my palette, but this is the right place for it there, next to the blue. Not sure how much of it I'll use, but I'll use some of it. And I'm not going to have any black in this, but I am going to have burnt sienna. Okay, burnt sienna would be good for the drawing. I don't have to put a wash on this canvas. Let me see. There's the canvas there. All right, because it's a linen surface and it's already kind of mid-toned. It's a bit light, but I mean it's already. I don't need to put a wash on it. Okay, so brushes. Here I've got a selection here. I don't want to sort of put in too much. Get rid of that one. I'll have that one there, which is about what, 6 or 8 millimeters. I'll use that one there, which is a round, and I've had it so long that the numbers come off. And I've got the small one. Okay, right. So I think I'll probably use those. I might use a slightly larger brush. That one there's for the blocks. Okay, that says, I mean, they're all completely different brands here. This one says it's a 1/4 inch. Actually, that's a better way of describing it, isn't it? Because the numbers vary across the ranges. But this one says a 1/4 inch, so you know what it is. Okay, Pro Arte, that is. Right, let's start out with a drawing. So I've got my solvent there. I'll put out that one. And remember, the concept of my painting is going to be about heat. All right, so a bit of blue into that and make a nice dark for me. So what we've got a bit of land there. We're looking down from a cliff towards the sea. So we've got a tree here, a tree there, and that is a kind of a roughly looks like the shape of France, actually. Maybe that's appropriate. And then we've got sort of a bit more coming off here. That could change. I might change that up a little bit. I'm going to put the trunk of this tree here, so there. You've got to imagine that you're standing on this cliff, and while you're standing there, you're being attacked by flies, for example, or, you know, the sun is beating down on your head, and you know that you've got a limited time to paint this. And all sorts of things that can happen to you while you're out painting en plein air. You know, the local drunk comes up to you and starts sort of making a nuisance of himself. That kind of thing. That happens in Dublin. And they're usually actually very, very pleasant and appreciative, actually. But I've had them coming up to me before. And for example, I had some lad, he was only about 25. He had a child with him, and he says to me, "Will you paint my little girl?" And I didn't want to do it, and so I said, "Oh no, I don't really paint portraits," which is kind of half true, really. But he just said, all of a sudden, he just kind of said, "Oh, please." I still didn't do it, though. But he suddenly sounded like a child himself. It was weird. Made me laugh, though. People are great. Now, I think that is my drawing there. Okay, there, like that. This is all the vegetation. There's a bit of vegetation coming down there. That'd be nice as well. The problem with painting from photographs is that you can see up there that the composition is more or less set for you, which is not what you would have in reality, is it? You'd have to go sort of try and sort of choose the bit that you wanted to paint. And now we've got that boat. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of draw in how I want that boat to be, you know. So, and it would be nice in there. I think it's a nicely arranged photograph. Okay, that's the boat there. We don't need any more than that. That'll be the boat, and it's casting a shadow in the water. More of that later, actually. Right, so that's my composition. So what I'm going to do first, right, is I'm going to block it. And I'm going to block it, or at least I'm going to put in my darks first. Okay, so I'm going to get some blue and a bit of burnt sienna. And I'm going to put a lean mix in. You've heard that expression, fat over lean, haven't you? And what it means is that as you go on in the painting, the paint gets neater, I suppose. So there's more oil in it. You know, at the moment I'm mixing up quite a loose mix of paint plus solvent. Okay, so but as you go on in a painting, you put more. The paint is more neat, or you can even add in a bit of oil to help the paint move around a bit if you're so inclined. I tend not to do that. I like just going with neat paint as I go in. So, and this will give me a kind of a sort of a notan, you know, that Japanese word, which is kind of, it's like schematic or something, you know, to make sure your design is the way you want it to be before you go to colour. Let me get some more. Here. There. That's kind of dark up there. Yeah. The other thing you may have done is forget the water that you need to keep yourself hydrated during the painting process. All these things mitigate against you painting for a long, long time, like you would in a studio. You know, you could go 4 hours in the studio painting, and you know, and still be quite comfortable. And the only reason you stop is that you need a pee or you get hungry or something. You know, because you're motoring along in your head, or at least you're cruising along. So it's like you're taking off when you're starting a painting like this. You know, it's a bit laboured. You know, you need a lot of energy to start the painting off, and then you get up to cruising height, and you just cruise. And paintings like that, and you forget about time and things like that. Forget your worries. You know, the only thing you're concerned about is the painting. I suppose that's the therapeutic part of it, isn't it? People always talk about painting being therapeutic, and to be honest, I've never really found it to be that therapeutic, you know, especially when it doesn't work out properly. But you against that kind of way of thinking is that you almost never think that your painting has turned out properly. It's kind of when you get affirmation from other people that it seems to sort of think, oh, you think to yourself, all right, okay, well, maybe it is all right then. I don't know whether any of you feel like that. So that's my scene there. This is all going to be water. So I'm going to mix up. I think I'm going to need to use a bigger brush actually, just for those areas of sea. So I've got this one here. So this is about what they call this one. They call it a 6, you see. What does that tell you? It doesn't tell you anything. Right, so let's mix up a sea colour. So lots of white, bit of blue, and a touch of yellow, I think. A bit more blue. Okay. I'm just going to loosen that with a bit of solvent. I'm going to leave this area here because this is obviously a sandy area. As you get closer to the coast and the water gets, I suppose, shallower, you can see the sand underneath, and the sand is reflected up through the water. Let me just make it a bit bluer. Okay. So I'm just blocking this in one big sort of tone. Okay. Right about now you're out in the field with your paints, and it took you half an hour to walk here. You probably wish you sort of had chosen somewhere closer, and you know, your family's back at the hotel, so having a nice sort of a nice breakfast and a coffee. I'm painting a lovely picture of the process, aren't I? I'll put you off for life. Now, down there, across here, down there like that, up there. Need a bit more. Coming along here like that. Okay, got that there. That can come in a wee bit closer. Now, there's that sandy part. So let's mix up a kind of a sandy colour. So white plus yellow plus red plus a touch of blue. Kind of a sandy colour. I'm just buttered up against the blue there. I don't really see it anywhere else. Okay, so next thing is the trees again. I'm going to mix up a green. So far so ordinary, I suppose. So let's make up a green, blue, and yellow, and a touch of red to make it a more natural green. A bit more red and a bit more yellow. Okay, a bit of solvent so that to lengthen the paint a little bit. Let's put in some of those around there like that. There. And down in here too. On that kind of land, you can see other trees over there. Trees there. More trees there. Like that, and then you've got this lad here. I'm going to actually darken that, I can put more blue into it. Okay, especially up around here. It is really quite dark. Let me just add in a bit of blue and burnt sienna into that. A bit more blue and a bit of dioxazine purple. Right. So these are the blocks. These are the things that do all the hard work, the heavy lifting in your painting. That's dark there, and that's darker there too. That's all dark in there. Just one big mass along here. Mass it in. Darker again, running out of paint really. While I'm painting this, I've got my head tilted to one side to avoid one of the cameras. I suppose that in a way that kind of emulates the difficulty of painting outside, because it's not such an easy thing just because I'm in my studio. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. And then a bit of vegetation there, and then come over here, right, and then up there like that. Right, I'm going to put in some darks for those tree trunks actually, so blue and red together. Maybe I'll put in a little bit of burnt sienna as well. Just want a dark because there's not very much light getting in there. Put that across there, down there like that, and there like that. And the trees are in the Mediterranean or the Aegean, they get a lot of sun to them, and they're almost kind of tortured the way the trunks grow. Put that there. I think that will be good. Okay, we've got that. And then down here, so we've got a kind of a reddish hue there. And then that's all dark there. Come there like that. Right, I can change my brush now because I've got my blocks in. Okay, go back to the sea. I'm going to have a go at the boat now. That can be, yeah, like that. So the boat is a white boat. So let's grab some white. But white is not white, remember? So grab some white and let's make the sun hit it. We're going to make the warm part. So add a bit of yellow and red into it. And you can really kind of amp that up, the warmth. So it's kind of a very warm pink. Okay, that'll be the lit areas of the boat. The unlit, the boats in shadow will be white. Grab that white plus red plus blue, so slightly purpley, violety colour. Because when you want something to look warm, you put something cool next to it. Yeah, I'm just trying to arrive at a colour that I'm happy with. Okay, right, let's put that in there. So the bits in shadow that I can see, actually I'm going to darken that slightly. I want it to be slightly darker, so a bit more red and yellow into it. Okay, there, and then inside the boat, and then there's the lit parts. There, light there, light there. Okay, and then another dark part there, and then some genuinely dark parts inside the boat, underneath that canopy. From there. All right, now to go back to the sea, make a new sea colour, blue and white and a little bit of yellow, and then shape this boat. There, there, sculpt this part of the boat. There, there, down there like that. And I want a nice, rich, turquoisey green, as much as I can get, underneath that boat. So I'm going to mix up some yellow and blue into that mix, and I'm going to put it. But what I want to do, I want to move that that shadow, or that's actually on the shore underneath. There's the shadow of the boat there. I actually want one here, as if the water is actually a bit deeper, so the shadow's moved away from the boat a little bit. We'll see how that works. Back to the sea. And I can put some more sea tone there. Up there. I don't want to sort of disturb the dark too much. There. Yeah. So let's bring the sea in there a little bit. Okay, that might be enough sea for the moment. I'm going to do a bit of a join between this sea and the sand. So I'll put more yellow into that blue, just to give me a kind of a gradation between the sand and the rest of the sea. And that means I can push that around a little bit. And I want my strokes to be seen. I want them to be evident in the painting. And the strokes will get smaller as I go on through the painting. All right, got that lot there. It was on just such a place that I was all sort of happy to be there. I was only about 25 or 26. I went running off into the sea and wearing the watch my mum gave me for my 18th birthday, and ruined it. I've still got the watch because all the salt water just ruined the thing. And I always sort of wanted to get it fixed, and I never have done. It's a lovely gold watch as well. I'm such a bark that I went into the water. Right, now that's my scene there. What I want to do now is to start adding some of this heat. Okay, so I'm going to, first of all, add it in the leaves. So I'm going to mix red into that green that I made. Okay, and then I'm going to start sort of putting it in place, especially off to the right. I think the sun is coming from in front and to the right, off to the right, yeah. Okay. And into this one as well. There's a thinner canopy of leaves there. And quite soon I'll stop looking at the reference, because it will have served its purpose, which just all it is to provide a kind of a reference to make something up. The painting becomes more important than the reference. You stop looking at the reference, and you make the painting that you want to paint, that will please you most, rather than becoming a creature of this reference, which is demanding you copy it. Sod the reference. Okay. So now I've got some warm areas into those greens around here. I need to amp up that sand a little bit, so I'm going to put more yellow and red into that mix, a bit more white too. Welcome to my channel and to this YouTube video. I'm so glad that you're taking the time to watch it. I produce these videos every week, or as near to every week as I possibly can, to offer out my views on good ways to paint and to give you demonstrations and everything. So if you are enjoying it, you can always leave a tip. There's a thanks button just below the video, or if you come to the live streams, you can do a live chat and offer a tip there. Or if you look in the description below, you can buy me a coffee, and that would be a great way to support me. If you can't do that, that's perfectly fine. Please do leave a thumbs up, maybe join the channel, and comment. Commenting is good. The YouTube algorithm picks that up, and it works tremendously in to promote this channel. Okay, so getting on with the video now. I hope you get a lot out of it. Right, so back to the boat. I think I just want to carve that boat into shape a little. Okay, so there's a little blue part which seems to me to be a kind of a lateral seat in there. Put that in there, and maybe something at the front there as well. I don't know what it is though. And there are a couple of little darks under the canopy. One in there. There's a dark running along there, which is obviously a bit of the boat that's not receiving as much light. A little dab in there. Okay, let's grab my lightest light again. Still some left. Put that across there. Okay, and lose that light there. That's the canopy. And there's more light there. Okay, back to the sea. There are some areas of water which are a redder blue compared to the greener blue, which is kind of more towards us in the. And in fact, that might be sort of just rocks or something underneath the water. So I'm putting in some strokes just for variation, like that. Shape a few things there. Some strokes along there. I'm not going to be too descriptive. Okay. Okay. And then some even lighter areas of yellowy, greenish under the water parts. Give it light. Little bits like that. Back to the trees. Right. So I'm now going to start playing, and I'm going to add in a very bluey green, almost just a blue really, in the shadowy areas. And down here. There. Little sprays of what looks like very thorny leaves. A couple of years ago when I was in Skopelos, doing the arts residency, I went out painting in the town of Skopelos, the village, I suppose. And I was just walking by this tree, and I just wasn't minding what I was doing. I had my little sort of, I don't know what you call it, trilby thing, sort of sun hat on, and I whacked straight into a tree with my head, and the thorns went through the hat and into my bloody head, and I was bleeding right down the front of my face. I had to flee to a cafe and wash all the blood off my head. Those bloody things are really, they look all look very pretty until you touch one of the things. They're vicious. The travails of being a painter, eh? So I'm putting some more description in here, just blue, kind of a bluey green, and along here too, just putting in some variations. I'm not really referring to the reference anymore because I've departed from it. So now I'm just going to paint what I want to paint and try to describe the heat of the day. So it'll be warm and cool colours all the way. So we'll go there like that. Come around. Yeah. What's that? Here, there's some sprays. You see, it's actually all very easy to do this now because of the blocks. The blocks really are taking up all the this, all the work of description, really. All I'm doing is putting little bits of description into the blocks. Some light green there, maybe across there like that, in there. All you're doing is trying to sort of describe a confusion of vegetation. What that is there. So that's a lot of cools. Let me put in some brighter greens along here, because they'll be important too. See through the trees, so there's down there like that. And now some heat. So I'm going to mix up a red and a yellow to make a very warm red. Okay, and I said that the sun was coming in from the right, so I'm putting in some hot colour. Especially down here, there's quite a bit of something or other there. But you don't have to describe these two exactly, because nobody's really looking at that. They're just getting a feeling from this part of the painting, and they're all looking down at the boat. Yeah, like that. Some red in those trunks. In there. There's rocks down there. I actually hadn't done anything at all. Just put that there as a reminder that there's something going to go in there. Let's put that there like that. Okay, so those are some warm colours. How about some cool colours? How about some blue? How about some dioxazine purple, actually? Let's see what that does for the painting. Mix up a bit of purple with a touch of white, and we can put it in some of the areas in shadow. Especially in those tree trunks. Yeah. Put in some extra branches there. There we go. There's bits in there to make those look tortured. And down here, let's mix up some more dioxazine purple. Maybe let's see what it's like as a pure colour in the darker areas. That'd be a bit of fun in there. Because colour temperature is vital in paintings. Now, I think a nice couple of oranges would be good. Maybe a bit of burnt sienna in it, in some of those tree trunks as well. Just to give them a bit of sort of, I don't know, detail, or what passes for detail, I suppose. Put in some of the crooks there. Those Mediterranean trees, they twist around. They're all twisted with the heat. I'm starting to sound like I did when I was a kid. We used to, probably like you, we used to make model airplanes all the time. So we used to buy them at this shop called Brayley's in Northfields, just beside Brentford in London. Brayley's was a great shop. We used to get models of almost every week after coming home from mass. Then it's probably our reward was to get a get a packet of model soldiers or another plane. I used to make these things all the time. But as I was making them, I used to make the sounds of the airplanes. So, meow, meow. I didn't know I was doing it. That was my brother sort of took the mick out of me. But you get involved, and in fact, that is the state of mind that you would be aiming for while you're doing any art. Really, is that sort of childlike state, is where you're totally involved in what you're doing. I'm just sort of sculpting those branches a little bit. Okay, there we go. In there. Now, something that I like doing is delineation. And I'm going to delineate. I'm going to start off delineating in pure permanent rose, because it's a cold colour. All these colours are cold, apart from that one, apart from the burnt sienna. And the only way to make warm colours with my palette is to mix permanent rose and yellow together in whatever you're making, and then you get your warm colours. Otherwise, everything is cold. So as long as you know that, you can deal with colour temperature in your painting. Obviously, if I had cadmium red on my palette, then that's already warm as a red. Some of the darker cadmium yellows, they're all warm. The what else would be warm? I always thought of ultramarine as being kind of neutral. I suppose it's a question of how you see these things yourself, but because cobalt blue is definitely cold. Cerulean blue? Interesting. Not sure. I seldom use cerulean blue. It's one of those paints that seems to get everywhere. You can't get it out, like alizarin crimson or phthalocyanine blue. Okay, I'm just attempting to make a difference between the cool sea and the vegetation, which is being superheated in this tropical world I'm living in as we speak. Okay, let's grab some more. This needs a bit of... I'm using quite a lot of paint now. So. There too. Messing around with that. Just make sure that nobody's actually sort of saying anything. Yes. Okay. Back to the sea. Just for a minute. Back to the sea. Okay. So I want a bluer, kind of a blue sea color. Just white and cobalt blue, because I want to sort of do some sculpting, and add some areas through the trees. So I've got to keep wiping my brush because I don't want the the paint to turn to mud on the brush. More white, more blue. Sculpt this little bit down here. Make an extra branch of that. And the same kind of goes up here, because you can see through the tree in places. I also want to deal with this area here, join them up. Shape those branches. There. Back to the green. So as usual, as with any alla prima painting, I'm bouncing around all over the place, bringing the whole painting forward as I want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to add some more light areas here. There. Kind of have an effect around here. I'm going to press the green into that red here because I think it kind of requires it. Let's just push that up there a little bit there. It's a bit too round. I don't want it to be that sort of I don't know, what would you say, coherent a shape. It should be more abstract than that. So I'm just going to grab some of the water near the edge colour. I'm going to push that into there. Into there. Okay. And that needs it in there as well. And maybe, let's see what happens if we put some green. I like the multicoloured trunks of the trees, so a bit of green in those as well. Just some touches. And now some blue. I want to get some pure blue. And do a bit of cool darks in those shadow areas. Especially around here, actually. That'll do. Right, I just want to see about that boat a little bit more. I want to have a bit of gratuitous what do you call it, strokes in there. Lots of paint. Let me grab some white. Make sure there's plenty of white. Bit of red, bit of yellow into it. There. And that can join it. Push that there. I think that canopy, in fact, can come around there like that. push that over there. The shape of that bow is actually slightly different from the way I have it, so I'm going to push that. Oh, I've got a hand rest here, that's good. Pull that down there. And in that case, I might lighten the C around it. Let's have a look. Oh, that gives the boat a better shape then. And some sort of little dabs around as if the water's catching the light. All of a sudden I want to go swimming. That, in fact, is shorter. Nobody told me. I'm going to sculpt that in a little bit. Ah, that's better. That does make the boat look. It was looking as if it was going to tip over backwards. Dublin artist in boating tragedy on the Greek islands. It'd be like Ripley all over again. I love the way Monet did those little dabs whenever he painted the water. You know, the Seine at Argenteuil and all that sort of up there. There, and the water coming up to the edge there like that. And some strokes around there. I didn't see those rocks there. Honestly, my eyesight is getting worse. Let me have a look. For a rock there, just for pig iron. We'll put that in there, around there, and get some nice hot rocks. It kind of sounds somehow obscene. I will put that across there like that. As if those rocks are catching the sun as well. And then a little bit of reflection in the water as well. There. And I need the sea, don't I? Just, these are details really. I need the sea. I need to be able to see the sea through the gap underneath the canopy. There, that's better. And maybe a little bit of red in there, because it could be a person. You don't know what is on that boat. Probably the plague. Now let's put a little shadow in over that side. There's a strange sort of red disappeared on that side of the boat. And I just want to put in some let me grab a decent amount of paint. So they're not as straight and defined. But there are ripples in the water there. And last, let's see what I can do around here. Some nice darks, using the dioxazine purple. needed some more twisted bits of tree. I can sense that there are people screaming at me now. Stop, for God's sake, stop. There we go. So I'm stopping. Wakey, wakey, everybody. Rise and shine. So, that's what I've got. Ooh, here, hang on. That's the, oh, yeah, that's it. See if I can get it sort of straight to camera. I'm not sure how much you can see and how much detail there is. Okay, so that's the painting. And you saw what happened, didn't you? I just did a drawing. I did the blocks, and all the details just went into the blocks. And then I got myself into a kind of a semi-catatonic state by just putting in details and enjoying it.